Hello, hello, hello. We're back in the room and we are now talking about the fourth studio album from Blur. I'm talking about The Great Escape. Cast your minds back. Can you? Can you do that? Probably not. Originally released back in 1995, 11th of September 1995. It was essentially Park Life 2, to be kind of dismissive of it. Again, it was the third in the trilogy of the Life trilogy, because you had Modern Life is Rubbish, Park Life, and The Great Escape, though they band couldn't really squeeze the word life into the title. But it continues with themes of detachment and alienation, and and things not necessarily being okay. It also is notable for the battle of the Britpop bands. For as this is where you country house was up against Oasis's Roll With It. So I'll do the joke. My local cafe serves Oasis Soup. You get a roll with it. What? What? This is what you come here for. This is what you come here for. But yeah, what can I say about this album? I don't know. It's not that I'm not a big fan of it. It's just I think again because Part Life was so strong. Um, I think the band kind of just got stuck in this loop of writing very familiar, very similar songs. Opens with Stereotypes, which is a very raucous opening. And again, it's one of those observational lyrics about characters that are that live in suburban life. Um, these people, again, they've got to a certain age, I guess, middle age, I guess, the dreaded middle age. I'm positively geriatric now, and in order to feel alive, they've resorted to various things, whether it's adultery or wife swapping or whatever else is, uniform play, and that's the thing. Again, it's a pretty shallow song because it gets that insinuation that once you get to a certain age, sexual deviancy is your future, you know. And I don't know. I don't know if old Damon has grown up and fulfilled this prophecy. I don't know, but I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, yeah, it's all right, but the lyrics are a bit poop. Country House again. We've gone from like Park Life being about the city and being very again urban, London and everything. Country Life is about what do you do when you've made it? You leave because you have enough money to leave the city and get away from it all. And the great escape, again, it's in the title. It's all about escaping, either escaping from yourself, escaping from your life, escaping from your career. You know, again, those themes were echoed in the previous album, but it's more so because it's a loose. Again, These are kind of loose thematic concept albums. I think it's a very clever. I like the lyric. It's a very clever. It's a very clever lyric, and about again the anxiety that comes with modern life, and modern life is rubbish. What do you do when you've made it? What then? Again, it kind of echoes the Stereotypes song. Whereas that's the people who haven't necessarily made it. They're just going through the routine. But what if you are successful in this city? What if you do make lots of money? You cash it in and you go into the country. And again, this is what these rock stars have all done. Alex James, he has his farm making cheese. I think didn't Damon buy most of Iceland? Not the supermarket, the country. They leave, and So the video is quite interesting because it was directed by Damien Hirst, who's a friend of Alex James, and it's done in a kind of Benny Hill parody style. I think it's kind of universally hated by the band now, and it was a bit even at the time, quite odd. You had Matt Lucas in it. Again, this was an early outing for Matt Lucas. He's again a very big comedy person now, but then him and David Williams couldn't get arrested. But here he is turning up in this, and they turn up in. Fun enough, because Keith Allen appears in it, because he's a mate of them all. When Keith Allen does Vindaloo, Matt Lucas and David Williams appears in that. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. We go on to the song "Best Days," and it's it's about a couple and about suburban life and how you these are the best days, but are they the best days? We don't know if they're the best days. What you're promised is again, this idea of it being your lucky day. This is your lucky day. It could be you. Life is a promise, but many promises go unfulfilled. It's that longing of potential not being realised, or maybe being shortchanged. Again, the average person, they live their lives. They live for certain events, whether it's getting married, having children, buying a house, retirement, and then you're dead. Oh God, that's miserable, isn't it? But what is life? Oh God, this is getting deep, isn't it? I know life is sitting in front of a camera talking about 25-year-old songs to people that don't care. Oh shit, that's my life. And then a song about me, Charmless Man. Actually, it's supposed to be about there's Brett Anderson from Suede, apparently. But again, if you go to excuse me, if you go to certain places in London of an evening, if you go to various bars and clubs around certain parts of London, you can meet people like this. You can hear them. You can overhear them talking. Again, they are suited and booted. They are probably had a line of Charlie in the toilets beforehand, and they like to talk. They like to talk about themselves. They like to talk about the money, what they are, and they are pretty charmless. I like the line, he moves in circles of friends who pretend that they like him. He does the same to them. And there's a lot of people like that. You meet a lot of people like that when you work. When you work, there's a lot of people you pretend to be friends with, and they return the favour. And then when you leave the company, you never hear from them or see them again, because it was just purely a business transaction. And it's one of those songs that paints a very vivid picture of someone. And I quite like it. The video is good fun too. Again, Fade Away kind of echoes Best of Days. And again, it's another suburban. Again, you go from urban to suburban and back again. And again, it's about a couple who are now so busy that they never see each other. When he's in, she's out. And it's about getting old, hitting middle age again. It's you read this stuff and you go, God, again. Because when I was, when I wasn't middle aged when this was out. When was this out? 95. I'd have been 24. So you take it on a level, and again, when you get older, you read these things, and again, not that they necessarily relate to me, because in my head I'm still 17, But I'd hate to be one of those people. I mean, I know I'm getting older, and I know, me and the missus, we've been together all these years and that, but we still laugh at the same stupid stuff, and we're still the same stupid people we were when we met, Even though we've had kids, I still think we're she would have been 16. There's a 9-month difference in us. So, I don't feel this thing. The only thing I feel is the aches and pains in my body. I feel it more on a physical level rather than, I still have fucking CDs and guitars and shit. I've not got old, if you know what I mean. My body's given up, but I'm still young at heart. I'm still young in my head. And so lyrics like Fade Away and Best Days, I kind of know maybe I didn't meet my potential, but my kids love me. Top Man. Top Man's interesting because it's a repeat of Charmless Man. It even has the same melody. There's a melody line that's repeated in it, and there's also delivery that kind of echoes Tracy Jacks from the previous album. And Top Man, again, there's many levels of this because Top Man is a shop. Yeah, Top Man is a shop. And there's it's I don't know if does it even exist anymore? I don't know. Let me look that up. I think it may have clocked. Is it still going? Oh, it's part of ASOS now. It was bought out by ASOS. It's a menswear, men's fashion boutique, and it was purchased by ASOS on the 1st of February 2021. Went to administration late 2020, bought by the Arcadia Group. But I'm getting beyond myself rather than the business. But people that shopped at Top Man, there's a certain kind of person. Again, it's like Charmless Man. He's like the guy that wants to be the Charmless Man, Top Man. Whereas the Charmless Man has the education and the money behind him. Top Man is the guy who's the working class boy who aspires to be the Charmless Man, and goes to the football at the weekends, and he's a little bit dodgy, and he's the guy that you meet in the clubs in the suburban areas, in the high streets on a Friday and Saturday night. He's that guy. So we've got they're the kind of yin and yang. They're kind of the same though. They're not the opposite. They're the same. It's just their backgrounds are different. He's Yuko and his boss, indeed. And again, I quite like it, even though it is a riff on the previous song. But I like it. Probably the best song on the album is the Universal, where the band just tear everything up and go, let's do something completely different. Again, it's backed up by a very interesting video, which is Kubrick inspired, Clockwork Orange inspired, and if you watch the video and listen to the song or whatever, it adds to the sense of detachment that you get, and it's looking forward to the next century, because you've got to remember this is a pre-millennial album, and a lot of bands at this time were thinking, crikey, it's only five years till 2000. And it's that the future is coming, the future is arriving, and this is what the Universal is. It's that thing of the future. Will it be better? Will it be worse? But it's that sense of detachment. We go and sing karaoke songs. We like to sing along, though the words are wrong. So the song isn't quite right, and there's a lot of that in this. It's that disconnect, and we get a lot of that where things appear to be fine, but under the surface, they're not. And it's a connected world. There's satellites in every home. The universe is here. And again, it's that, I think, what I draw from it is what we're heading towards. It's very, very much it's a diluted culture, where there's a hegemony, where everything is kind of grey and the same, But it could be your lucky day. Here is your lucky day. What is your lucky day? How do you know it's your lucky day? Not getting hit by that car could be your lucky day, or finding the £10 note on the pavement could be your lucky day. The boundaries of the lucky day is elastic. And it could be that, your lucky day could be the day where you don't, stub your toe when you get up in the morning. But it could happen. It could happen to you. It could happen to you. The National Lottery. The National Lottery. There's a lot of that advertising at the time that's kind of seeped into this. Everyone's kind of living in hope. And again, time passes. When the days just seem to fall through you, and you just got to let them go. You can't hold on to them. You're aging. You're gonna die. And God, it's depressing, but I think it's a really great song because they do a lot with very little with it. Mr. Robinson's Quango. Now, God, quangos were a thing back in the day. A quango. What is a quango? It was a word that was bandied around a lot at this time, from about I don't know, 95 to about 98, 99, the word quango was used a lot, and it was a governmental kind of loose affiliation of organisations and people in government that would be, pressing for things. What's the official definition of quango? You've been quangoed. John Wetton had a band called Quango. Quango is an organisation which the government has devolved power, which is still partly controlled or financed by government bodies. It means quasi-NGO, which means non-governmental. So it's part of the government, but it's not part of the government. You can, you can't. It is and it isn't. But yeah, it's another vignette of a person who he's a mason. He's got a mason's ring, and he shakes hands, and he drinks with generals and majors, and he makes deals, and they're making money, usually, off the back of us. And yeah, he's a politico. It's a description of a politico. It's where we are now. It's actually a prediction. It's really quite, again, reading this, I know politicos back then were corrupt, but we seem to have more of these people now who, under the surface, they wear the suit, but underneath the surface they're wearing black French knickers and their stocking and suspenders on. Again, it reminds me of Kenny Everett, the character he used to do, who was very repressed, but wasn't. He's a self-professed saviour of the dim right wing. But now we live in a time where the right and left wing are dim. They're both as bad as one another. They're both cheeks of the same stupid arse. And that's what Mr. Robinson's quango is. He's a politico from the right who's just in it for himself, and he's completely bent in all aspects of the word. He thought of cars. Yeah, and again, this is another one. It's one of those ones where it's about alienation and disconnect. Everyone wants to. This is again the Great Escape. If you look at the album cover, it's somebody diving into the water. But if you look, there's a shark underneath. Be careful what you wish for. The grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence. And this is it. It's about freedom, having freedom to go anywhere you want. But where do you go? He thought of cars and where to drive them, who to drive them with, but there was no one. Again, you have the freedom, but where to go? Everybody wants to, go into the blue. Everyone wants to get away. Everyone wants to escape, but they don't know where to escape. You can't escape from yourself. You can run, but you can't escape yourself. It could be you. Now, again, this is relating to the National Lottery in the UK. Back at this time, the advertising campaign was a big finger, going, "It could be you," and a big godly voice, and it was to encourage people to play the idiot tax. I sometimes buy a ticket. You never know. When I win my £133 billion, I'll buy YouTube. But yeah, and again, it's about the people that that live in hope. It's that theme of living in hope, and it's your lucky day. And it references all manner of things like Telly Addicts, which was a TV show. And it could be me, it could be you. It should be me, should be you. But it never is it? And don't worry, if your lucky number doesn't come up, there's always tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. It's that. And, all we want is to be happy in our homes, like happy families. We aspire for everything to just appear to be okay. And we live on the promise that it could be you. But happiness comes from within. You can't buy a ticket to happiness. Money buys you choices. When you're poor, you have very little. There's two kinds of. If you're in the system, you have very few choices unless you have a lot of money. But if you're absolutely really poor and you're homeless and you live on the street, you have plenty of choices because you can be autonomous on that level. You can go. That's the weird thing of it. But if you're in the system, and you're paying your tax, you're going to work, you're in the system. You're not really free, but money buys you choices. That's why we do the lottery. Arnold Sane, again, it was narrated by Ken Livingstone. Don't mention Hitler, anyone. And it's about a boring person. And they got him in because he was a boring person, and Stephen Street didn't like him, and he said he was horrible. And it's just another character song. Glow Below. This is where I start to lose a little bit interested. Again, another character song about somebody who does everything because it's like advert. He's influenced by adverts and everything that's going on in the world, and everything's got to be branded, and yeah, he's a pretty shallow person. Globe alone. Yeah. If he doesn't get what he wants, then he gets a headache because he needs it, wants it, almost loves it. And again, it's about globalization and about, the insistence on advertising and how it can get into your head, and some people that's all they live for. Dan Abnormal, which is obviously about Damon Albarn himself, because that is an anagram of his name. And yeah, it's about him and how normal people are, and it's about conformity and how he gets bored and he's boring and he gets bored with TV, and and it's about how facile culture is. So again, thematically, these songs are very repetitive, and it's all a bit goes a bit, doesn't it, really? And the penultimate track is called Entertain Me, and again, by this time I have zoned out a bit, and again, it's about the immediacy. It's that people who want like immediate gratification, and not getting bored, always being entertained. Do not be bored. And there are a lot of people out there who used to, what are you doing at the weekend? I'm doing nothing because I've been working all week. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they've been programmed to do this. Every space, every moment of their life, whether it's going out to a club or going out to the shops or whatever, there's no time for themselves to grow. It's about constantly being stimulated. They've constantly got to be doing stuff, and that's that song there. You can see there's a theme that modern life really is rubbish. We've kind of got there. And the last one, again, I find this one a bit weird. It's called Yuko Hero. I think its working title was Japanese Workers. And again, it kind of looks... I guess it's him stepping away from British culture and looking at Japanese culture, and how people work in a factory and they've got exactly the same lives as us, and they're all part of a machine, and there's only one day when they're allowed to be themselves. And again, it's a quite sad song. I mean, all of this is sad if you look at it. It repeats some of the themes from the previous song in the Fade Away. Again, there's a lot of intersections of these lyrics. There's a lot of he's really hammering it home, and for another band, this would have been a great album. But for Blur, they've done all this on the previous one, and I think my issue with it is thematically it is very repetitious. There's a lot of repetition here. I'm repeating myself, and I find that a little bit difficult. But then you've got the Universal, which I think it's really a great song. Even Country House is good. even though it's a bit, it's a bit carry on / Benny Hill. But yeah, it was a hard follow after Park Life. Park Life being such a strong record, it's a pretty tough one to follow. But yeah, there we go. So that was that. It's an interesting record, and it did. I think it did well. I think it did. Yeah, it went to #1 in the chart. Sold triple platinum. It's not bad, is it? And there's quite a few singles off of it. 5 singles. Well, 4 singles in the UK: Country House, Universal, Stereotypes, Charmless Man, and in Japan, It Could Be You. So yeah, they did quite well with that one. So anyway, I've been talking about The Great Escape, the 4th studio album by Blur, originally released 11 September 1995, weighing in at a whopping 56 minutes 56 seconds. They could definitely edit that one down and make it a much better record, but hey, that's me. I've got a very short attention span, and you know that. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll do the next one. There'll be another one along in a minute. Keep watching. Good, isn't it? Ta-da.